everybody. Chris McDonald with you on this Friday night, the 3rd day of October 2025. Grateful to have everybody tonight. We were debating whether to come on tonight, and I couldn't resist knowing that this man was going to be back again this week 2 times. He should feel honored. I wouldn't even let Donald Trump come on my show twice a week, Akers. For goodness sake. No, I'm messing with you. President Trump could come on my show 5 days a week if he wanted to. I just want him once. I think once would send the show into orbit, wouldn't it?
It would.
It's good to see you tonight, man. It's an honor to have you again. I want to encourage everybody. I want you to give everybody your website. You wrote a tremendous article today. I sort of gleamed over it. I'm going to read it more in detail, but you wrote something about the AI and the Antichrist, and I thought it was excellent. What's your website? People can go to visit and read that.
It is James Akers, JeemesAkers, all lowercase, .com.
.com. Okay, even Chris McDonald can remember that. And I encourage people seriously to go and check it out. It's good stuff, buddy. The reason I brought you on tonight, and we hopefully have Jason Miller coming in behind you here tonight. But tremendous breaking news this afternoon, late, and I've got the Breitbart article up. Hamas has agreed to release all hostages. Trump late tonight has told Israel to stop the bombing of Gaza pending the ceasefire deal. And they're agreeing to some parts of this, James, some parts they're not. I'm just going to get your take on it. I'm not a big fan of telling Israel to stop bombing. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think that Trump's jumping the gun a little bit because I don't care what Hamas is saying. What they do and what they say is always two different things. But I want to get your take on this. I get this sense that Trump is bending over backwards to a fault to appease the Arab world and tie Israel's hands in this. And I think that he's making a mistake doing it. But that's just my opinion. He may prove to be the most wisest man in the world about this. But I don't, if I'm Israel, I don't stop until I get my hostages back. I don't care what they tell me. What's your thoughts on that tonight?
Yeah, I believe it when I see it. If the deal gets all the hostages back, then I'll be singing Trump's praises for it. But until that happens, I'm just extra cautious. I believe it when I see it.
Do you have any
proof is in the pudding? Do
you have any gut that they're going to go through with this? Because they got to Sunday. I mean, Trump's giving them 48 hours basically to produce the hostages. I just do not believe they're going to do this because part of this agreement, they got to disarm. They've already told Trump they're not going to disarm. And I heard today, I read an article that it's now Israel's job to negotiate with them about that. Are you joking me? Why is it Israel is the one that's always forced, James, into these negotiations to have to come down to Hamas's level instead of Hamas basically following through and doing exactly what they're told to do? They're the perpetrators in this, are they not?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. We always expect Israel to take it in the neck and Israel to go the extra mile to make any agreements in the Middle East work. The burden never falls on these groups that commit the most heinous atrocities. There's Hamas needs to release the hostages, give up its arms if Gaza wants to live next door to Israel. It has to be sure that the government is not going to be a seedbed of people that in 2 or 3 years is going to want to push them back into the sea again.
I couldn't agree more, buddy. Look, we're on the same wavelength as each other. We get it. Why doesn't Trump get it? Because I don't think he gets this. Maybe he does, But it bothers me that he's telling Israel tonight not to continue anything until the ceasefire deal is sealed. There's no ceasefire deal sealed, James. All they're doing is talking. I mean, until they produce those hostages, as far as I'm concerned, there's no deal.
Yeah, and then there's another disturbing report that's come out the last couple days that the Trump administration has agreed to just almost unlimited security protections for Qatar. And that if any country, any third country, bombs Qatar, that the United States will consider it an act of war on itself. That is dangerous territory because basically it was provoked by this latest strike of Israel. They tried to decapitate Hamas leadership that was in Qatar. There's no sense of us putting pressure on the government in Qatar to because they were hosting Hamas. It's just absolutely crazy. And then at the same time, you have now one of the largest air fleets assembled in our largest air base in the region, which is in Qatar. And there are a lot of moving parts. So many moving parts that I had a friend that sent me a note tonight. He says, are you going to go abroad when the war happens, or are you going to ride it out here? And he said, you don't have much time to decide, which I thought was a really interesting note.
Yeah, I would ask your friend, is there something I need to know that I don't know that you know? That's what I'd be responding to that. I say that to my brother all the time. He's a former Air Force colonel, and I always tell him, I said, you're still in the loop with the intelligence stuff. And I said, if there's something I need to know and you can't tell me, just send me some kind of prayer hands or some kind of signal that's got a MOJ that's like, protect your manhood or whatever. But yeah, anyway, I get it. That would shock me too a little bit. James, am I oversimplifying this, or is he getting bad advice here? Where do you think he's getting this from? Because Qatar, and I'm still upset that he forced Bibi to apologize Monday. He's not, and it's not like that he said anything to Qatar about housing the Hamas people. I'd have been mad at Qatar. I wouldn't have been mad at Bibi about it. I'd have been mad at Qatar. Why were they there to begin with?
Yeah, well, the truth is that we need Qatar and we need their military installations, which is right next door to Iran these days, and so there is a lot of that comes into play, and again, American administrations, for whatever reason, always find it more convenient to put pressure on Israel than the Arab countries in the region. That has been a situation, a geostrategical truth that has existed now for the last 4 or 5 administrations, and I really don't get it. I'm not naive about things. I'm not one of these that supports absolutely everything Israel does, but the truth is that they are the only reliable ally we have in the Middle East.
Well, it's so ironic that all this is happening. Last night was Yom Kippur. They've got the Feast of Tabernacles, which is Sukkot, that starts Tuesday. And the last time that they ended Tabernacles 2 years ago, that's when the October 7th attacks hit. And now here we find ourselves 2 years later at the beginning of Sukkot with the end of this, possibly. So it's very weird if you think about it, very prophetic. If Trump pulls this off, does this peace last at all, or is this going to be a paper tiger and we're all going to rejoice? And I tell you, it's chilling to me because all I can think about when I see this kind of stuff is First Thessalonians 5:3. When they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them like woman that travail on a woman. I know that's what that's actually referring to, is actually the breaking of the peace treaty by the Antichrist at a future date. But it still, like, goes to your point a while ago that we have tried to make these paper tiger peace deals before, James, and they've all ended in destruction. They've all ended in war. They've all ended in nothing but calamity for the Americans and Israel and the world. Ultimately, the world's what loses in these paper tiger peace deals.
Yes. No, I tend to agree with you, Chris. But then, everyone that disagrees with me would say, "Well, you are really pro-Israeli." Yes, I am. For a number of reasons, and so again, if you're a Trump critic, you're saying Trump is desperate for any sort of peace deal, having fallen flat in arranging a peace deal between the Russians and Ukrainians. If you're a fan of Donald Trump, you're saying that he's the ultimate deal maker and that perhaps this was the best deal he could get. At least it looks promising that we'll get the release of the hostages, which is a major step in the right direction for all concerned.
Well, I will get back on this program Monday night if those hostages are released over the weekend, and I will sit here and say to the world, because I always do this, that maybe I've misread Mr. Trump and President Trump, and I give him kudos for getting those hostages home because maybe that's his ultimate goal. Roger Hooker is saying that he's trying to prevent a wider war. Roger, I tend to agree, but I want to just give you a heads up. A wider war is already happening. I mean, the Middle East, there's no friend of Israel tonight. And I don't care what wider war we're preventing. It's not going to prevent it. I mean, James, it's ultimately we're selling out our best friend thinking that these Arabs are fair brokers. They're not fair brokers. I would understand that if we had fair brokers that we're dealing with. These Hamas terrorists have no character. They have no soul, man. These people are as evil and wicked as any individual group I've ever seen on this earth. And the things they did on October the 7th goes beyond description and beggars. And I think we forget that. I think we forget the brutality and the debauchery and the derangement and the absolute hideous things that they did to Israeli citizens, not the military, but to women and to children and to babies and to men. And we don't need to forget that tonight. I don't care what the blank Trump's trying to do to prevent a wider war. What I do care about is Israel's hands being tied, defending itself against these monsters. And I don't mean to get my air bent up, but it's just, we're not dealing with a normal deck of cards here like we are maybe with Russia and Ukraine and some other minor conflict in Africa between countries that don't know how to get along with each other and kill each other for over 30 years. This is something that's spiritual and biblical. This is a little different. Am I right? And I'll let you jump up on the soapbox with me and get up here and go for it on a Friday night.
Now, when you're dealing with Muslim extremists, there is no historically. There has been nothing to give us confidence that if they give their word on a matter that they're going to follow through with it. I'm with you. I will be completely surprised if Hamas turns over all the hostages. Well, and at this point, most of them are bodies, right? And I will be completely shocked and surprised.
I'll get on this program Monday night, and I'll say those very words. I will say, hey, give Trump credit. But It grieved me tonight to hear him tell Israel not to bomb. And see, the reason he did that, about 2 hours ago, there was an IDF excursion into Gaza because rockets got shot from Gaza into the southern part of Israel, and the IDF responded, James, again. That came in the face of this ceasefire, in the face of this so uncalled peace deal. Guess what Hamas was doing tonight? They were shooting freaking rockets into the southern part of Israel. So what is Israel supposed to do? And again, I keep saying that over and over tonight. What in the living world, below and above, is Israel supposed to do with this? Nobody seems to care about their defense and their safety. It's all about the Arabs appeasing these terrorist Arabs, who I really, ultimately, I pray for their soul, but I don't give a you-know-what about their safety right now because they sure as hell ain't cared about Israel's safety.
Yes. Now, we, time and time again, and, I think it's worth kicking this dog one more time. We expect Israel to be the punching bag and accept all the blows so that American negotiators can take the bows and the credit. And meanwhile, Israel time and time again puts itself at jeopardy in all of these types of arrangements.
And Roger, I'm not taking issue with you. And yes, it could get significantly worse. But the thing is, it can get significantly worse if Israel does not deal with these people and eradicate this group from the face of the freaking earth. It's going to get significantly worse. And there will be another October the 7th. It may not happen right away, but they will plan another one eventually if they're not eradicated and dealt with. That's just my opinion. And I'll leave it at that. I've kicked the dog enough tonight with James Akers. That dog's hurting tonight.
We've kicked that dog from both sides.
Let's just say that Chris's mother would be proud of him tonight. My mother used to tell me I need to wash your mouth out with soap when I was a child sometimes, and she'd probably be proud of me because I felt like tonight I want to say some things that I probably would need my mouth washed out with soap after. I'm just in one of those moods, man. Hey, before I let you go, the government shutdown. Have you not seen a more bigger clown show by the Dems than this bunch that is imploding? Poor Chuck Schumer celebrating Yom Kippur tonight, and while he's out, AOC is out there walking down the halls of Congress telling her constituents, hold the line, and we're not going to give in to these evil Republicans. And our show went off the air last night before we could talk about the poll. I think it was about 86 to 12. 2%, I don't know out there why they would blame Trump for this, but 2% did. But 12% blamed both parties, 86% blamed the Democrats. Nobody blamed the Republicans. I would ask the 12% to blame both parties. Please explain why you think both parties are at fault here. It ain't the Republicans. The Republicans have put a clean bill before them. All they got to do is vote. It's just a continuing resolution. And I've got something I'll show you what the Dems are fighting for. But what's your thoughts on all this? It's just a clown show, is it not?
Yeah. It's just a political dog and pony show. Is all it is. The Democrats are absolutely desperate for something that they can put a big label on as a win, whether it is or not, and so that's exactly what's going on. Schumer doesn't want to give an inch because he is desperate for something that he can call a win for the Democrats, and I am not a fan of the continuing resolution. Period. This government needs to pass
A budget.
a budget.
Absolutely.
A budget. Everybody in this country, every household is required to required to live with a budget.
Amen, buddy.
Only the government doesn't do that, and they haven't been able to for year after year after year. And what you have is all this corruption and these special interests just feed on these continuing resolutions. There needs to be, in James Akers' world, there needs to be each piece of the fiscal legislation needs to be passed on its own merits and start cutting this pork out of this whole process. And until we do that, we are looking at one continuing resolution after another with threats of shutting down the government and all the welfare checks, may be in danger and this, that, and the other. The government needs to grow a set of big ones and pass a budget.
Why do they do this to themselves in Congress, that they make it a 60 vote threshold to pass something like this? I've never understood that, because it's like the Republicans have the majority, but it's like they self-impose a self-inflicted wound that on these financial bills they have to get 60 votes. Screw that. You got a majority. Everything should be a straight up majority vote. Dems don't want to play along. Well, tough. That's why elections matter. And maybe we wouldn't say that if the Dems were trying to pass some crazy legislation, but I don't understand that. I never will. And I guess somebody with a legislative background can explain that to me one of these days. But it just is frustrating to me, and I'm with you 1,000,000%. We're not doing nothing but kicking the can down the road. We'll be right back here at the end of the year, or first of the year, doing this very same thing, because these things usually last about 90 days, and until again somebody stands firm. And from what I understand, what's his name, my former Georgia senator, the one that's over the VA, Collins, was on CNN tonight, and they were trying to back him into a corner, claiming that the VA services were going to be hurt by this, and he laughed her off the stage. He said, nope. He said, we're continuing to do everything. So the country's not feeling it, James, so much. It's more of a media football right now, and it's more of a PR nightmare for the Dems. But I think when Trump starts cutting all the federal jobs that he's promised to cut, that's when I think it's going to get their attention. And I think they're going to cave this eventually. I do not believe the Republicans are going to cave like Hakeem Jeffries is claiming they will tonight. That's a pipe dream and a joke. But one other question. Do you see AOC possibly running for president in 28? McCartney tonight, the former Speaker of the House, told Jesse that he does not believe that she wants the Senate. He does not believe that she wants Chuck Schumer's seat, as everybody claims, that her aspirations are a little bit higher. And she's watching Mandami in New York to see what happens in that race, that if he can get elected to the biggest city in the world, she's got eyes on that White House in 28.
Well, that's interesting. You have, you have a barfly that has climbed up the ladder and can challenge for the highest office in the land. We saw something very similar here just 2 or 3 years ago. A person with no talent whatsoever other than picking. That would be very unkind.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I get it.
I mean, you've got to give her her due. She has maximized PR exposure, with very little intelligence, and a district that continues to elect her, and everybody scratches their head why. And she's got a lot of mileage out of very little to offer, and so we seem to be prone to put those people in a position where they could possibly win elections.
Well, I had a dear friend. He was from Australia, and he told me way back, we just had started the show. This was probably 2018, 2019, way back in the early days. And I'll never forget this. He was on our show, and he told me that night, he said, watch for Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez in New York. He saw her on the Instagram pages cooking pudding and cooking cookies, connecting with these young people, connecting with the internet world, connecting with that social media genre. And he said she is going to be a force, and he said your nation is going to be facing her running for president someday. And I thought it was a joke, and a lot of people laughed then. I don't think we're laughing tonight.
Yeah.
And I think you're onto something, and I think we better realize that. I got to ask the New Yorkers this: how do you put a bartender in office? I mean, come on. I mean, goodness gracious, what is wrong with the voters is another thing I want to find out. Why can you? I mean, how do you put a bartender with an IQ of 2 in charge of the New York representatives race? I mean, come on. But anyway, that's another discussion. Buddy, I appreciate you. I got to run. Listen, it's good to see you again tonight. Thank you for your insight on all this. And I will probably come back Monday night with pie on my face because I'm sure everything's going to just work out hunky-dory this weekend. So I'll have to get you here to be my cover. So we both. So I won't be the only one with pie on my face Monday night about this Hamas situation. Okay.
Yep. No, I'm with there, right there with you. I am hoping for the best.
Me too.
But I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, that's me. My attitude's absolutely, buddy. Listen, God bless you. I'll talk to you. Have a great weekend, my friend. Great stuff on that article today. Be blessed, okay?
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you,
Bye.
James. James Akers finally tonight. Good stuff tonight. And we're so grateful for him. I tell you what, he's a good buddy. And we've got another guy that we're pretty cool about. And we're going to see if he can get on the phone with us tonight. Jason Miller, and then we're going to do a few videos and get you out of here. We're in good shape. We're just at 9:35 tonight. Usually we're already an hour in. There's the man, Jason Miller's on the phone, on the line with us. Man, how are you tonight?
Good. How are you?
Well, I'm old, gray-headed, ornery, cranky, and the list could go on, but that's just between me and you, right?
That's right.
Jason Miller, everybody. He is the Miller. We've been talking about doing a Miller Mac show, a Miller and Macman show. I think that'd be a pretty cool. We could take that on the road, don't you think? And we'd have at least the nursing home folks show up for us. So that alone would get us about 20 people show up, in these venues. So it's good to see you tonight,
That's
Miller.
exactly right. Good seeing you. Thank you.
Wanted to bring you on tonight. Just got through talking to James Akers, and he's sort of like I am. I'm very skeptical of this Hamas agreement and the Trump situation tonight, but I wanted to get your take on it as well. Do you think these Hamas terrorists are going to release these hostages? I don't. I'm just being honest with you. I've got no faith in this agreement, and I think that he's biting his face to spite his hand, or hand to spite his face, by telling Israel not to stop the bombing tonight, because I'm telling you, there's no deal in place to me until those hostages come home. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with you. How do you know that Hamas is lying? Their lips are moving, Chris.
That's the truth.
Their lips are moving.
Their lips are moving. Thank you.
How do you know the media is lying to you? Their lips are moving too. And you're exactly right. So yeah, I don't see this happening. And but I was watching Eric Stakelbeck from CBN Israeli News earlier tonight, and he made a great point. President Trump stands by his deadlines.
Yes, he does.
So I don't think that President Trump is naive enough to think that that Hamas is going to release these hostages. And I think that come Sunday, something's going to happen. This is what he said. He gave Iran 60 days or so to end their nuclear program, and sure enough, on day 61, he bombed that nuclear facility.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
So, go ahead.
What's his thinking, you think? And again, I'm not trying to discredit President Trump, but I am confused a little bit by his attitude toward Israel, telling them that he wants them to cease the bombing in Gaza with the ceasefire deal in place. And to me, the wording of that is not accurate. There is no ceasefire deal in place. He's got a promise from Hamas, but he's got no hostages. And until they show those hostages, Jason, and bring them to Israel, to me, there's no deal. That's just my opinion. And I think that he's back in the wrong play here. And I know I'm with you. I believe that he's not dumb enough to believe that Hamas is straight players. But do you think that's just an olive branch that he's offering them until Sunday, and maybe saying, okay, I'm gonna do every single thing possible to give you every chance to do the right thing, and knowing good and well they're probably not.
I think that President Trump knows exactly what he's doing. And I think that we're going to see a repeat of what we saw in Iran with those nuclear facilities.
Okay.
I really believe that yes, I think that I really believe that he's just wanting to clear out that area before he takes it out.
Okay.
Really. I mean, I think he's already has plans for a Trump Tower going there, doesn't he? With casinos and who knows? I mean,
sorry. No Trump hotels. Yeah, he's already talked about he was going to annex Gaza himself. Maybe that's what this is about. Maybe he don't want Israel to have it. Maybe he wants it for Trump Tower. I didn't think about that. That's good.
He's a businessman. I think he'll be okay.
I think he will too. I'm gonna have to get up and eat so much humble pie Monday night. I've been railing and ranting tonight on this Friday night. I'm gonna have to get on this show Monday night and say, "Oh, I was wrong, guys. Trump knew all along what he was doing, like I always should know by now." But look, we'll see what happens this weekend. I think it's a wait and see. Jason, we got October the 7th coming up Tuesday. I hope you can be with us if we can. We're gonna have a panel talk about what happened 2 years ago, but I do, just in case you can't be with us Tuesday night, I do want to get your thoughts on what has happened in the country. It seems like the anti-Semitism since October the 7th has actually exploded more than it was even before October the 7th. And I'm curious how you feel about that. A lot of these social media platforms have turned all out anti-Semite, bro. They have gone full-fledged Jew-hating, Israel-hating, no conscience whatsoever about just saying some of the most vile, ugly, hateful, demonic things about Israel and the Jewish people out there. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's you're exactly right. This is pre World War II all over again, 80 years later.
Yes.
And so you know as well as I do, the Bible describes a generation is 70 years or 80 years if blessed, right? So 80 years is kind of the number that I've always thought is a generation, and it's just kind of ironic that exactly 80 years later, after the end of World War II, we're right back to where it left off.
So true.
And so we're so it's more of a certainly more of a global scale now of anti-Semitism than it was more of a European scale in those days. But still, this is where we're at, and this is exactly where the Lord said we'd be at before He returns. And so we shouldn't be surprised, but it is very surprising to see how fast this has happened.
Yeah, I'm with you on there, buddy. I'm fully with you. The rapid pace of it, because I thought that Israel would actually get sympathy when October the 7th hit, and maybe it was naive about it. I thought that maybe the world was going to see the light, America would see the light. Of course, we had Biden in office at the time, so that was a pipe dream. But we would see the futility of trying to establish a Palestinian state and see what the true colors of Hamas, the true colors of the Palestinians were. It was just the opposite, Jason. The world's blamed Israel for October the 7th. Sort of like they blamed America. The voices in this country blamed us for 9/11.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what the true colors are. Look at their flags, Chris. It's red or black, red, and green around the white that's right down the middle. Right. Well, that's kind of funny because those are all the dark-colored skin around the. Israel's predominantly white in the middle of a very dark-skinned area.
It's very true.
And I don't mean to go down that road, but they're the ones that talk about it, not us. So I'm just bringing up what they say, not me. But the flag is very, if you look at all the Muslim flags around Israel for thousands of miles, they have those four colors: black, red, green, around the white. The white is like the middle. And in my opinion, that's what it's symbolism of. They want to wipe the white man out of the Middle East, which is the Jews.
Which is the Jews, buddy. That's right. That is right. I tell you, Jason, you're good stuff there. Do you think that we're going to see exodus from New York from if this Marxist gets elected, and it's looking more and more every day like he's going to. Do you foresee an exodus of Jewish people and maybe an aliyah going back to Israel? Because I don't see where they've got anywhere else to go in America. It's not like there's a lot of safe havens here in our country. I just look for it to be prophetic, and there's going to really what the Bible has said the Jews would do at the end, right before Christ comes back. They're going to return to their homeland, and I think this thing in New York City may be pushing that. And then I got another question to follow up about that. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, that's exactly what's happening, Chris. That's exactly what's happening. Is that it's almost like the Lord is setting up his chessboard to kind of, if you can imagine a chessboard, you go for the king, right? Well, everybody kind of migrates on a certain type of on the chessboard there, and that's exactly what's happened. The Lord said that He'd bring all His people from all four corners of the earth back to His homeland.
Yes, He did.
And of course, I told you, I think on your last episode, the heart of the Middle East is Israel, and heart of the Middle East initials are HOTME. And if everybody out there can write those letters, you'll in lowercase, you'll see it. It's HOTME. It looks like the Lord put His cross right in the middle of His home.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And that's exactly what He's doing. He's returning all His people back to Israel. Now, He didn't say He's going to do it pleasantly. This is going to be easy. Just come on. No. Sometimes, I think what it really boils down to, it goes back to what I've told you before, that everything God creates, Satan has a reaction to, and God already knows that, and so it's almost like go back to the chessboard, that where the Lord is way ahead of Satan in his moves, and that's what He wrote the Bible. It tells us exactly what's going to happen right there in the book, and that's exactly what's about to happen. Because the word creation and reaction have the same letters. So anytime we know what God's creation is, which again is all the Jews will return to the homeland. Well, Satan has a reaction to it, and of course that would be like a Mandami in New York City, of course.
Yeah, I'm totally with you, man. Speaking of Mandami and the Muslim takeover of this country, another question I've got for you tonight: have you ever seen the more rapid descent into a Muslim takeover of our nation like you're seeing right now? Look, England's gone, France is gone, Europe's gone. The Middle East has been gone for a long time, but brother, they are dedicated, and they are taking over our governments, our mayorships, our governors' halls. They're taking over our school boards. They're taking over our financial institutions. Jason, we're being invaded, and it's happening right underneath us, and I don't think people understand what these people... I've got a video tonight. There was a group up in Dearborn, Michigan tonight that basically said until they change the White House to a Muslim White House, they're going to keep chanting death to America. Brother, I don't know what else you can know. That's a threat. Is that not a threat to our country? That's a threat to our national security, is it not?
Yes, it is. And, it just occurred to me while you were saying that we're being invaded. If I'm not mistaken, I don't have a pen and paper in front of me, but I think you cannot spell invaded without D-A-V-I-D, which is David. And the city of David is in the word invaded. Is it not?
It is. It is.
And this goes back to the covenant that the Lord made with Abraham when He asked him to sacrifice his son Isaac. Remember, He put him on the altar, and he pulled his knife back, and before he lunged at his son, He said, "Stop." He says, "Now I know I can trust you to lead my nation." And He says, "I have a sacrifice over here for you." And do you remember what animal that was?
It was a ram.
That's right. 99.9% of people out there will say a lamb, but it's not a lamb. It is a ram. You are correct, Chris. It is a ram. Well, that's funny because not that I'm someone on horoscopes, but I was born in March, and I know that March is Aries the ram. Is that not right?
I think so.
That's right. So Abraham had his son Isaac bound on that altar. He had to unbound Isaac, take him off the altar. And, of course, the ram had his horns stuck in the thicket. And so Abraham then had to get the ram out of the thicket, and he bound the ram. Is that not right?
That's correct.
That's right. And what I was just saying, if you're born in March, it's Aries the ram. So he bound the ram, or he bound Aries. If you look at the word bound Aries, that looks like the word what?
Boundaries.
Boundaries. That's exactly what it is. And so when we give up on the boundaries of the city of David,
God
it looks like we're about to get invaded.
God removes ours. Well, Jason, there's a spiritual law. It's powerful stuff what you just said there. Look, there's a spiritual law in the heavens that, as we do to Israel, that's what's going to be done to us. And I think it's exactly what's happening. And it goes back. It's not just I'm not saying President Trump is doing this, but I know past administrations have. Biden certainly did it. Obama certainly did it. Bush Jr. did it. Clinton definitely did it. Bush Sr. started this land for peace nonsense. And any time that we have tried to keep Israel from protecting her boundaries, we have suffered. And I think that what we've seen, because this Muslim buildup did not just happen overnight. It's happened rapidly, but it's been building for a while. And it has exploded this last year on the scene, has it not?
Yes, it has. And when all those people that you just mentioned, all those former presidents, what's the one thing they had in common? Well, that was they were very friendly with oil in these Muslim countries.
Yes. Yes.
And so when it's funny because in 2005, George W. Bush had ordered all of the Israelis to be out of Gaza and West Bank.
He evicted him from the West Bank. He did.
That's exactly right. And it's just very ironic that Gaza, West Bank initials, and George W. B. or George W. Bush have the same letters. They're the same letters. It's almost like the Lord put his initials on. In other words, you did this, I'm going to put your initials on it. It's almost like I don't know if you would call it a scarlet letter or something. Maybe, I'm not sure, but it just looks very strange to me that Gaza, West Bank initials and George W. Bush initials are the same. And this has got George W. Bush written all over it. This has got George Herbert Walker Bush's initial name all over it.
Yes, it does.
You know, it's funny that if I'm not mistaken, I think it was only a couple days after George Herbert Walker Bush had met with some pretty shady characters in the CIA that Ronald Reagan was nearly assassinated.
A lot of people believe Bush Sr. had a hand in that. A lot of people do.
Very strange. So, but again, and then you go in, like I was just watching the Israeli news here on CBN just a minute ago, and they had a Jewish high-ranking soldier on here, and he was just railing about how he couldn't believe that President Trump was meeting or being so friendly with Qatar. He said they're the Muslim Brotherhood, and I have told you before that the word Qatar, Qatar, spelled backwards, is RATAQ, our attack.
Rat. They're rats.
Our attack will come from Qatar.
Well, before you came on, I interrupt you, but James Akers said that that Trump has basically got a declaration. I don't know if it's been made public yet, to just confirm what you're saying and to confirm what the Israeli soldier said. James Akers said tonight that Trump is about to get an executive order that states that any nation that attacks Qatar is going to be like an attack on America itself. Jason, I've never known a president, Republican or Democrat, to ever say that about any Arab country like that. And it just makes you wonder, why is he chum-chumming up with Qatar? And I go back to this, and I'll just, again, not to beat a dead horse, I am still livid about the fact that Bibi Netanyahu was forced to apologize to a nation Monday by our government that was housing the Hamas leadership at a hotel, and they knew they were there. You can't tell me they didn't know they were there. So we're not upset with Qatar about housing Hamas terrorists. We got upset because Israel bombed the hell out of the hotel, and somebody got killed in the bombing, and it was like it was almost like it was an attack on Qatar. Bibi wasn't attacking Qatar. He was going after the Hamas leadership in Qatar. And this is what frustrates me to the no end, that we're shaking hands with the devil. And Jason, you know, there's an old saying, you keep shaking hands with the devil and you keep dancing with the devil, eventually the devil's going to come home with you. Correct?
Oh, absolutely. You are absolutely 100% correct. And so it does make you scratch your head. Like, you know, I don't know who Trump's talking to, or, you know, because in his first administration, he didn't seem to have anything to do with these Muslim countries, which is why I loved him, actually.
I know.
But you're right. It seems like he's kind of done a 180 here, and he's at least negotiating with them. And I don't think you can negotiate with them at all.
What is your take on Bibi Netanyahu? I think he's a man of. I think Bibi Netanyahu is the one common, solid, stable factor in all of this mess and chaos. He has shown a steady hand of leadership. He does not get nothing but they're basically bashed, trashed, slandered, called every name in the book in this nation by these anti-Semitic fools, these anti-Semitic demons, and even many in the church have nothing good to say about him. But Jason, I don't think Israel would have done I don't think that she could have had a better leader at this time of her history dealing with what she's dealt with for the last 2 years than Bibi Netanyahu. That's my opinion. What's yours?
Yeah, I don't think so either. And it's almost like he's been put in this place by the Lord himself. And I do believe that's exactly what happened. And you're exactly right. He's the best prime minister Israel's ever had.
I'll agree with that.
And I tell you what, I don't think again, it goes back to end time prophecy. You know, the days of Noah. I've always said, the Lord said it'll be as in the days of Noah. Well, that's funny because days of Noah initials are Don, as in Don Trump. And then also with Benjamin Netanyahu, well, Benjamin was the last of the 12 sons of Jacob who became Isaac, or excuse me, Israel, right?
So that's exactly right.
And so it's just kind of prophetic that he's the last of the 12 children, Benjamin. And so now we have Benjamin Netanyahu, which is funny because you remember when Joseph became the leader in Egypt, and all his brothers who betrayed him, they brought Benjamin with them. And of course, remember, their dad Isaac was like, "Don't take Benjamin. He's all I've got. He's the last. He's my youngest."
Right.
But but Joseph made them bring Benjamin, and he made them all the servants give Benjamin multiple plates of food. That's right, multiple portions, and I think that's equivalent to what you're seeing today.
It's beautiful.
So, and let me go back. Let me go back to these Muslim countries. You know what they all have in common, Chris? What do they all have in common? And they're like, oh, well, you know, this one's not the same as this one, and this one's not the same as this one, but they all carry a common thread. What is that common thread, Chris?
Hatred of Israel, number one.
That's exactly.
Deep hatred of Israel, brother. There ain't no way to hide it, and I don't care how much they try to hide it. It's there. It's there because of their religion. What it is. Because they're controlled by Islam that hates the Jews and the Christians.
Chris, did you know that the word thread, T-H-R-E-A-D, and hatred, H-A-T-R-E-D, have the same letters?
They do, don't they? That's very interesting. See, Miller, that's why I'm bringing you on the Friday night, that we don't bore these people to death. You are the Friday night bomb. That's all I got to say. I got a good one for you about the colors of the flag. Maybe you already know this. The red, green, white, and black. When the Apostle John on the Isle of Patmos was given insight to the 6 seals, and the first seal was a white horse, the second seal was a black horse, the third seal was a red horse, and the fourth seal was a pale horse, which means green. It comes from a Greek word that means chronos. It means green. Jason, what I believe John saw in that spirit realm, because he saw those horses in the spirit realm, they're called the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I really believe that he saw the rise of Islam and the rise of these Muslim nations and their hatred against Israel in the last days, because that scene is pretty much a remnant scene about what's going to take place in the first half of the Great Tribulation period. And Israel is going to be possibly at war with these nations, and that's where the Antichrist is going to come in. and he is going to be able to solve all this, and he's going to make her believe that he is her Messiah. He's the white horse rider, and he could very possibly be a Muslim. He could be a Jew. He could be both. I don't know, but he's going to make her believe, at least for a season, that he's got peace in his hands and he can protect her, and she's going to bow down to him as her Messiah. Pretty intriguing stuff. Not bad even for McDonald, huh?
Not bad for McDonald. How about that? But I've always said, I've always thought that the word peace, P-E-A-C-E, also sounds like peace, P-I-E-C-E, and everybody wants a piece of the peace.
That's right, buddy.
And so this goes again what I said earlier, that the God is creation and Satan's reaction. Creation and reaction have the same letters. Creator and reactor have the same letters. So everything that Jesus creates, Satan reacts to. And that's exactly what this is. Salem means peace. Jerusalem, the word Salem means peace. Salem and males, M-A-L-E-S, like me and you talking on here, have the same letters. So have you noticed that the world has become a very feminine? By the way, all the European nations seem to have women leaders, and if they're not women leaders, they're very feminine.
That's very true.
I think Emmanuel Macron, apparently he's married to his former teachers, like 30 years older than him. Then it finds out that maybe a former man or something like that. I mean, who knows? But it's just becoming a very feminine world.
Yeah, it's a terrible spirit that's descending, Jason, on the world right now. But I got about 5 minutes with you. I do want to ask you just a couple of quick questions about the country itself. In your opinion, we've not talked. We did have you on the other night. You were such a blessing telling us what happened at the Charlie Kirk event. I so much appreciated you coming on and giving us that. 3 weeks after the fact, where do you think the country's at right now with all that? What you got? What's happening in the nation as we move from that 3 weeks after the fact? Because it was 3 weeks Wednesday when this happened.
You're talking about this nation, where we're at in this nation?
In America. Yes, America.
Well, our largest city is about to elect the most radical Muslim in the world, right here in our own territory.
Yes, we are.
So I think that kind of tells you where we're at. Certainly the heart of the nation seems to have woken up a little bit, and there does seem to be a revival. Church attendance has really skyrocketed last 3 weeks since Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Mm-hmm. So, Jesus wins in the end, according to the book over here, right? So, it's like the old saying, the world's not falling apart; it's falling into place. And so we're going through these birthing pains before the baby is born, and it's not very fun going through that. I remember my wife just calling me every name in the book before we had the baby, right? And so yeah, there you go. Which is funny. Which is funny that I'm bringing this up because, we had a discussion a while back, of all these pictures I took. We only have one child. She's a special needs child. I think most of you guys, I know you do, that, Chris, but most of your audience may not know that. But me and my wife have a special needs child. She's 18 years old. And, it's funny, we were talking about these baby pictures that I took when she was born. And you know what my wife's favorite picture was of all those pictures I took? Like most days, I took about 200 or 300 pictures of my phone. Her favorite picture is when I turned around and took a snapshot of the clock on the wall, freezing that time when our child was born.
That's sweet.
And which is funny because we are living in crazy times. And what's God's prophetic time on this earth? That is the nation of Israel.
Yes, it is.
Well, what's the word times? T-I-M-E-S, spelled
Semite.
backwards. That's right. It's only one letter away from being the word Semite, S-E-M-I-T. What are the odds of that?
It's prophetic. The odds are huge, but in God's kingdom, they're not that huge. They're divine. They are divine times, my friend. But I'm with you on that. And we are Tennessee guys, and you're my neighbor. Has Nashville completely gone blue? Where you're at? It seems like that mayor over there, he's lost his natural-born mind, has he not?
Yes, he has, and most cities have. If I think I've shared with you this one before. If most people out there, if they have a pen and paper, you're going to write the word or the letter Y, and then you put IC, and then there's a cross. It looks like why I see away from the cross, and you write that enough times, it starts to look like the word city. And you're looking at all these cities around this country. Nashville's become the same as all these other cities. We have a lawless mayor. He does whatever he wants. He doesn't care about laws. We're seeing this in Portland right now.
Yes.
Right. I saw a video the other day of the mayor of Portland walking or marching down the street with the Antifa people.
I don't doubt that.
And I would say our national mayor has done that yet, but he's certainly been very vocal against these ICE people. He hasn't been any vocal against the illegal aliens here.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, buddy, you've made my Friday night, and anytime you're off, you let me know. I'm going to get you back on. I appreciate you. We do need to talk about doing this Miller Mac show. I think we could be big hits. You would carry the audience, and I would, give you the questions, feed you the questions, and you could go to town with it. I think we could get us an audience, man. And
I think so, because the Mars company up in Pennsylvania made the M&Ms their favorite.
Exactly right.
That's right. And it's funny because we just talked about the Ram, the covenant of Abraham, and Mars and Rams have the same letters.
Mars and Rams have the same letter. And O'Reilly,
you can't make this up.
Well, O'Reilly and Dennis Miller were famous because they did the O'Reilly Miller show, so I think the Mac and the Miller show would be much better than the O'Reilly Miller. I think you're much funnier than Dennis Miller myself. So. That's just my opinion.
What can I say? You got the most famous fast food restaurant, and I don't drink, but we got the famous beer name in the world,
true.
and in Germany, where all this started, that's funny because all the McDonald's serve beer over there. I don't know, but I don't know. Maybe there is something to do. Me and you, maybe we should get a.
We'll talk about it, man.
Maybe we should get a show together. We'd be the most famous show ever.
Well, I hadn't said nothing about the K-Star folks. We've not left K-Star, even though we've left the daytime. We're going to be back on at night. So maybe we'll work something out when we come back on K-Star to maybe do a Mac and Miller thing at night. So that'd be something we could do. Listen, man, I got to run. I love you, buddy. Listen, I appreciate you. You are a dear, dear friend, brother, and I just cannot tell you thanks for being with me tonight. It's good stuff tonight, as always, and I'll be in touch with you. Hopefully see you soon. We're going to come and do a conference near you in Cleveland or Nashville and get you to come be part of that and help us. God bless you, Jason Miller. Take care of yourself over there, man. Be safe, okay? Final things, final word. Wrap us up. If you got three final words, wrap us up.
Yep. There's a local church, my old church that I used to go to for many years, Ward Outreach Church here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If anybody's in Middle Tennessee, they are all they're inviting everybody to come over to place a Jewish or Israeli flag on their lawn in remembrance of all the hostages that were killed. So
send me that information by text because I'm going to do that when I get back. I'm actually going to do that. I will actually do that. I'd be more than honored to do that. Buddy, that's a special thing, and I appreciate your church doing that. And you're part of my church too. You got dual membership, even though we don't have membership in the McFiles Sunday morning meeting time program. You've got a dual foot in both. So just know that. Love you, buddy.
Well,
God bless you now.
That's how us Christians are. We are Judeo-Christians, so we have dual citizenship as well with the Jews and the Christians.
That's exactly right, buddy.
The Christians are not supposed to push the Jews out. We're supposed to be joining the Jews in the Christ family. So
thank you, buddy.
I think a lot of people seem to misread that.
Totally agree. That may be another good discussion. But listen, I'll hang loose Tuesday night because we're going to do a special on October the 7th, and I'll maybe get you to come on in, okay? Because I'm trying to work on the details of that right now, and I'll let you know more about it as the weekend goes, okay?
And maybe yes, sir. Maybe by then we'll have a different perspective of what Donald Trump is planning here.
And I'm willing. Look, I'm willing to give it to him. I'm a little perturbed. I am that he seems to be back in the play of Qatar and giving the Hamas leadership a way out. And look, I would not be doing that. I wouldn't even be giving them till Sunday. You know something? They've already held these hostages for 2 years, Jason. I mean, my God, what's 2 more days going to be? For God's sake, they're not going to let these people go.
But you're right. But how many years and years and years and years did we complain about Iran's nuclear program? And we thought, is he giving them another 60 days? Are you out of your mind? We said the same thing just a few months ago, Chris.
I know, and I'm willing to give
And then, and then he went right in there and wiped that nuclear program out in one strike. So I'm hoping, again, I'm being very optimistic here. I'm hoping that that's something similar to that. And it's just kind of funny that we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary. That so October 7th was that Tuesday, right? So who knows? We may be talking about something different by then.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And again, I've gotten on my show and eaten humble pie before. I'll get on it again Monday night and say Chris is wrong. But anyway, Jason, appreciate you, buddy. Have a good night, man. Have a good weekend.
Yes, sir. You too.
Bless you, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Be safe over there. Jason Miller, everybody, put some fire in that house. And I love Jason Miller. He's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. He's my buddy. He's my friend. And good Lord, me and Jason have fought some battles together. We have. I'm going to brag on him a little bit. He first ever meet and greet we ever had was on a Saturday night here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Was in Farragut at the park, and he walked up to me, and he shook my hand. He said, "I'm Jason Miller. You kicked me out of your chat last week, but I wanted to come say to you." And we became friends ever since. But he drove all the way from Nashville. Nashville's a 3-hour drive. And where he's at is almost 3.5 to where I was at. And I knew it was going to be late when he got home because we didn't start at 6. And I was very honored that he would drive all the way over. We had a joke about the chat. I was different time. Chris was a little wired up during those days. We've gotten a lot less wired up about that. But we stood in the cold together at J6. We came up, and he was with me up there, and we've just had good fellowship. And he knows I'd do anything for him, and I would. His family is precious, his wife and that daughter, his mother. I know she's listening tonight. Mom Miller, hope you're doing good. And we love y'all. And good stuff tonight. It was good stuff. It was good stuff. And again, if you don't see things the way Jason sees them, it's all right. Jason ain't going to lose no sleep over it. Chris ain't either. But I think he had some pretty good insight there. And I think James Akers had some good insight too. If you believe that, I think you should put some fire in that house for him. And good to see a good crowd in the house tonight. It really is. Yes, Rainbow, all those Muslim countries have those colors in the flag, don't they? Very interesting. They all have red, green, white, and black. Some combination of that. If you'll do any Google search and Google Muslim flags, that's very common. Very interesting. Same colors of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. We're going to talk about that on our Wednesday night Revelation study when we get to those horsemen, and we're getting closer. We're in Revelation 4. 3.5 years ago, we were on Revelation 1. So at this rate, Trump may be out of office by the time we get to that, but hopefully not. We're going to try to pick up the pace a little bit. But the big story tonight that I wanted to come on and talk about, there's other stories, and I'm not going to keep you much longer, is this story right here that Hamas has agreed to the peace talks. That article right there got my attention, that I've got my highlighter on. Trump tells Israel to stop the bombing of Gaza pending a ceasefire deal. And we'll see. We'll see. And I don't know. Anyway, you saw what Chuck Schumer said, that Johnson wants to keep the shutdown to continue. Yeah, he does, Chuck. And I'll explain why he wants that. Here's Mr. Kennedy, Senator Kennedy from Louisiana. I wish, if I didn't live in Tennessee and I could stand that heat, I'm not a Cajun eater, and crawfish make me sick. But I love Senator Kennedy to be my senator. This is him explaining what the Dems want to stop the government from shutting down. Roll tape.
Basically, President Trump just said, we want you to take some stuff out of the budget that we think is wasteful. And we did. And that upset the Congresswoman. She's entitled to be upset if she wants to. But that really upset the socialist wing of the party. And so we took out, and here's what they want us to put back in. We found that under President Biden, they were spending $3 million for circumcisions and vasectomies in Zambia. We took that out. The Congresswoman says, we're going to shut down government until you put that back in. We found $500,000 of American taxpayer money for electric buses in Rwanda. We found $3.6 million for pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti. I kid you not. I'm not making this up. It was in the budget under President Biden. We took it out. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez in the socialist wing, the loon wing of the Democratic Party, says we're going to shut down government until you put it back in. I'll just read you a few more that we took out. They are demanding we put back in. $6 million for media organizations for the Palestinians. $833,000 for transgender people in Nepal. $300,000 for a pride parade in Lesotho. $882,000 for social media mentorship in Serbia. $4.2 million. We took it out. The Congresswoman and the socialist wing of their party says we've got to put that back in for the open government. $4.2 million for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex people in the Western Balkans and Uganda. I could spend the rest of the afternoon here. We took all that out. It upset Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. It upset the socialist wing of her party. And now that wing of her party and the Congresswoman are threatening all other Democrats and saying, you've got to shut that government down until we get what we want. And part of what they want is to add this kind of stuff back into the bill.
And if these Republicans
and that's what this fight is all about.
Keep going, Kennedy. Keep going. Very well said tonight. That's why I love Senator Kennedy. He has got the most common sense of any of those senators up there, to be frank with you. And I wish he was Speaker, to be frank with you. I wish he was the Senate Majority Leader. But, folks, there it is right there. $3 million for circumcisions and vasectomies in Zambia. $833,000 for transgender people in Nepal. $4.2 million for LGBTQ people in the Western Balkans and Uganda. $3.6 million for pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti. I'm sorry. We're not making this up. This is about as funny as the Pope praying over a chunk of ice yesterday. Poor James Wood, the actor, he lamented today that he was Catholic. He had a picture of the Pope praying over ice, not the group ice, but a chunk of ice, claiming that it was going to save the world from climate change by praying over a chunk of ice. And we're thinking we're going to shut the government down because we want to give $3.6 million. He's not making this up. And I'm not making it up either. For pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti. Bill Clinton is having a ball tonight. $500,000 for electric buses in Rwanda. $6 million, folks, for social media organizations for the Palestinians. What in the living, you know what, do the Palestinians need social media organizations for $6 million? By the way, since I'm on this diatribe tonight about the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, if the Palestinians are starving to death for food, why in the world would they be wanting $6 million for social media programs? Maybe that $6 million should go to feed all these hungry Gazans that they're claiming Israel's starving to death. $300,000 for a pride parade in Lesotho. And $882,000 for a social media and mentorship in Serbia. Good Lord have mercy. We have lost our natural-born cotton-picking minds. By the way, Jason talked about lawless. This is the mayor of Philadelphia tonight. I'll let him do this. Laura Ingraham had a comment about it. I'll just let what he says speak for itself. Listen to what he's got to say. I got something to say about it. Hang on just a second. Let me turn the volume up on the thing. Let the mayor of Philadelphia speak for himself.
The criminal system has had a disparate impact on black and brown communities. Let me lead with that. So when this person is committing 6 or 7 crimes, I don't know his or her story. Maybe they were abused as a child. Maybe they're hungry. So my remedy is to find their life story to see how we could help first. I have no desire to put them in jail, but I need to protect you, and that's the calibration that we...
I have no desire to put these violent criminals... He's talking about people that have been multiple offenders, like repeat offenders. He literally said that tonight, press conference. Laura Ingraham asked him the question, well, Mayor, since you have wanting to find out what's wrong with them and get to know them in a personal, intimate way, and find out what's causing them to rape, murder, pillage, burn cities down, stab, kill, maim, kidnap, destroy property, beat the hell out of women with purses, and do all sorts of wonderful things, Mayor. Why don't you bring them to your house and open your door and have them come sleep at your house tonight with your family? I'm sure your family and you can have a get-together, a kumbaya meeting, and figure this out instead of putting these people in jail. That's the mayor of Philadelphia, folks. You Philadelphia people, you got to be proud of that. You got to be proud of that. That's the lawless mayors we've got going on. That's the lawless mayors we got going on. This is Jesse tonight on AOC, and then we're going to do a few more of these. We're going to be out of here in just a minute. It's 9:19.
Hakeem's party was a dud, so AOC threw her own fiesta at Casa de Schumer.
Right, guys, so the government is shut down, which means that Capitol tours are closed, but we had a bus of kids from the Bronx and schools that came all the way down here for a tour. Obviously, no one knew the government was shut down, so I'm giving them a tour. Say hi, everybody.
Chuck takes one day off for Yom Kippur, and AOC's in the Senate giving a tour. Or was she just scoping out her new office?
And I'm going to stop it right there because this is the socialist wing of the Democrat Party that is demanding those things I just showed you, or Senator Kennedy showed you, and that's who Chuck Schumer is not wanting to cave to. I'm going to tell you this, Corey. I'm with you 1,000,000%. Corey Aguilar just said if the Republicans cave to this crap, I don't even think there should be primary. They should be basically have a special election recalled. And every single one of these people in the Senate needs to be held accountable if they cave to this crap. And, but the media is doing coverage for her, just like they're covering for Mandami in New York. And it's sick tonight, but that is what we're dealing with. This is, this case should be getting more headlines. I heard about it. I want to play it for you. Roll the tape. This is another situation of crime running rampant in our country.
He stood up with me on top of him. Just stood up and threw me 10, 15 feet across the room and went after her.
Dean Tipton says December 7th, 2015 is a night that changed his life. He says his children woke him up. He then found a man attacking his children.
And when I got to the top of the stairs, he attacked me. He come at me with the knife.
The night took a tragic turn with the loss of a life, his 6-year-old son, Logan. Dean says immediately after Logan's death, he lost his will to live.
I laid in bed. I gave up. I gave up on life. I gave up on my family. I gave up on everybody. I just wanted to die.
In the years since, the family has done their best to cope, but mentions they are mentally and emotionally scarred. And they are hurt that Ronald Exantis will no longer be behind bars.
Everybody deserves a fighting chance to have justice for them, and it's not.
I've had my talks with God because I'm not afraid to tell you all. I told the court, if I ever cross paths with him, I will kill the man. I will kill him where he stands.
I know that's tough, but that's little Logan right there that will no longer be with us thanks to that man in those handcuffs who's no longer in handcuffs tonight, thanks to a justice system that thinks these people should just be let go. I'm sure this is one of the criminals that the mayor of Philadelphia thinks that are just misunderstood, and perhaps we get to know them better, and that way we can understand why they go kill little boys like this in cold blood and then get out. Anyway, not cool. A couple of quick stories tonight. I got so much to talk about. I'll save some of this for Monday night because it'll still be just as crazy then. But we did have a few wins today. By the way, this is the what is this right here? This is, you can't understand it because they're speaking in Arabic. This is the Dearborn, Michigan Muslim group tonight chanting death to America and basically saying they want the White House. They want control of it all.
ما تا وقتی که انشاءالله این کاخ سفید را حسینیه نکنیم فریادمون همین است که مرگ بر آمریکا.
Very, very scary stuff. This is Caroline Levitt. Nick Sorter, who is one of the best ex-people out there. He's got a tremendous social media following. He was covering the Antifa riots last night in Portland, Oregon, and was trying to defend himself when they attacked him. Guess who the police arrested? You get 3 guesses. The first 2.5 don't count. Roll the tape.
Just last night, we saw an extremely troubling incident where conservative journalist Nick Sorter was captured on video being taken into custody by the Portland police after he was ambushed by Antifa and was defending himself from these assaults. But instead of arresting these violent mob members night after night after night who are ravaging this community, the police arrested a journalist who was there trying to document the chaos, and everyone in this room should be extremely concerned about that. The Department of Justice spoke with that journalist this morning, and they will be launching a full investigation into his arrest. This incident is part of a troubling trend in Portland where left-wing mobs believe they get to decide who can visit and live in their city. It is not their city. It is the American people's city, and President Trump is going to restore that. I just spoke with the president about this, and he has directed his team here at the White House to begin reviewing aid that can potentially be cut in Portland. We will not fund states that allow anarchy. There will also be an additional surge of federal resources to Portland immediately, including enhanced CBP and ICE resources. Law and order will prevail, and President Trump will make sure of it. With that, I'll take...
And he will, and he should. Couple of quick things, folks, and we're going to take your questions. This is a reminder. You remember the terrible bombing or the shooting in Minnesota about 5 weeks ago now. This young lady right here, Lydia, was shot in the head while praying during Mass at the Annunciation Church in Minneapolis 5 weeks ago. She's back in school tonight. Never let the worldly people tell you prayer is useless. Prayer is powerful. Welcome back, Lydia. God bless you. That's from Bree Solstead, another great ex-exer. This is a gentleman today. This is the one of the people that got killed in the attack on that Jewish synagogue in the UK. Melvin Kravitz, he was 66, one of those murdered in this horrific terror attack on a Manchester synagogue just a few days ago. May his memory be a blessing. By the way, this is how crazy the Palestinians are. These are Palestinians protesting outside of Karl Starmer's house. Why would they do that? He's the one calling for the Palestinian state. That should tell you they don't want, their demands is not what this is about. They want domination of England. This is them denying.
I've just gone around the corner so that I can hear you because the loud noise is coming out of the protest that's just taking place outside of number 10 Downing Street. It's pretty deafening. It's mostly pro-Palestine protesters that are there right now. It is getting a bit violent, Ian. I've just seen 3 territorial squad police vans filled with officers just go onto Whitehall. Basically, about sort of half an hour ago, the police cordon that was in place to try basically to control some of the protesters and to stop violence breaking out. That cordon was broken. I saw all the protesters cheering as they managed to break through that police line, but they are clearly trying to keep them in a small and tight area, basically in the middle of Whitehall. It's sort of just been pushed a little bit further down from Downing Street, so it's not quite on Keir Starmer's front window, so I'm sure he probably won't be able to see it, but he definitely will be able to hear it.
Yep, he heard it. By the way, a couple of quick judges' decisions today. The SCOTUS gave Trump a big win today. This activist judge, James Brosberg, had said that he could not deport 300,000 Venezuelans. The SCOTUS said, that's not your call, Mr. Judge. It's Trump's call. And big win for Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution. 300,000 Venezuelans that should not be here are going back to their drug party under Mr. Maduro. And one other thing tonight that we'll talk about more Monday. Let's see, where was that one thing? This is President Trump. We're going to talk about the Netflix thing Monday night. I've not forgot about Netflix. But this is President Trump tweeting this out about the Dems tonight. Only President Trump. Only President Trump. Roll the tape. That is President Trump. He tweeted that out tonight. There's Maxine Waters and her sombrero. All righty, before I get myself in more trouble. That's one ugly woman right there. Good Lord. Inside and out. Good Lord. Goodness gracious. One ugly woman. Carol Smith, you're asking the question, is this money really going for these items or somewhere else? Buddy, that's a good question, and I don't know. I think the Dems put that stuff in that budget, and I think your guess is as good as mine. I would hate to think that we have gotten that stupid in this country to finance stuff like that, but I can't guarantee you that we've not gotten that so depraved. Honestly, I don't know. It's a good question, and I think Trump needs to get to the bottom of it. By the way, folks, the video that you saw, if you wonder what was that all about, Voight, the budget manager, he has vowed that as long as this shutdown goes on, they are going to start firing these federal useless workers that they've been wanting to fire, and the courts have stopped them. Well, guess what? They got no money now. They've got a reason to do it. The courts can't stop them. So the thing the Dems are doing, they think they're going to hold out. What they're doing is getting all the bureaucracy out of D.C. for us, so you can thank the Dems for that. And it's a good thing. We don't need them. We don't need them. Anyway, do you think Hamas will follow through with promises to free hostages? 86% of you say no. 14% of you say yes. And that's about 100 votes tonight. And interesting. Mary, you're right. It is money laundering. And chaos and anarchy are tools of the devil, Pat and Deb. Dennis says, I wonder what would happen to the father of that little boy if he did the monster that killed his son. I'm sure he'd be in jail for life. Dennis, that's a good question. I will say this. The answer to that situation is not killing the perpetrator. Look, I know this is tough and we don't want to hear this because I know we're a vengeance-based country. But we as Christians, we walk by a different law. We walk by a different law. And we need to pray. Look, the man getting out of jail is a travesty of justice. He should have never seen the light of day. The man should have been executed, to be frank with you. He should have been death penalty. We can kill every single criminal in America. It's not going to stop crime. The death penalty is not going to stop crime. The only thing that will stop crime is Jesus Christ in the hearts of men and women tonight. That's going to stop the killing. I feel the man's pain. If that was my son, I'm not even saying that I wouldn't want to have some kind of justice of that nature too. It's hard. I can't even fathom. I can't even fathom. But I pray that not only the perpetrator gets peace, but I pray that daddy gets peace, because he needs it tonight. And we need to pray for the father. I'm not blaming him for feeling the way he does, but it's not the answer. It's not going to bring him any relief. It's not going to bring him any peace. There's things that are going on in the country today where people have sought vengeance, and they got their vengeance, and they got their piece of flesh, and they think it's going to bring them peace, and it won't. It's just going to bring more torment. It's just going to bring more torment. But vengeance is God's. It's not man's. Vengeance is man. Your point is well taken, Dennis. I get what you're saying. I do. I get it. I get it. And it does not solve anything, Jenny. You're right, buddy. It just don't. It just don't. And Roger, you're right. If the Republicans cave, Trump's presidency may be over, and I'm sort of with you on that. I believe that this whole thing is going to blow up in his face. Mark says we're headed towards the book of Ezekiel and Daniel. Mark, we're on the way to Armageddon. We are. Bible studies in the morning, man. Bible study every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're talking about all that. We're on discipleship right now, though. Come on, join us. Come on and join us in the mornings right here on the McFiles Faith Network. We've been talking about that. Carol Smith says, I saw the Dearborn mayor tell a white resident when he questioned a street sign named Hezbollah he wasn't welcome there and would celebrate if he moved out. Or he warned a street sign named Hezbollah he wasn't welcome and would celebrate if he moved out. Well, they always get upset, Carol, when they're confronted. This Dearborn situation is one that's tremendously sad to me. It really is. Jason Miller says the first 5 letters of revenge spelled backwards is never. And Jason, that's exactly right. We as Christians don't take revenge. Vengeance is God's. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And we need to all recognize that. And I know it's hard sometimes, and in that case, my heart breaks for that daddy. That's a precious baby, precious kid. I don't even want to think about it. If that had been one of my grandkids or one of Kathy's grandkids or our grandkids, we got 6 between us, and I can't even fathom. And had that been one of my children, can't even fathom. But the peace needs to come to both the one that did it and that dad. Both need Jesus tonight and need the peace of God in their heart. They just do. Anyway. Any other questions tonight? Good stuff tonight. Did y'all enjoy the show? I didn't really think I was going to come on tonight, but I'm glad I did. And I want to thank Jason Miller. He's out there in the audience. Buddy, you outdid yourself tonight. Thank you, my friend. You know I love you, buddy. I do. Appreciate you much. You're my family, you and your wife and your child. God bless you. And see you soon, man. And he has just been a precious, precious friend for a long time now. As all of you have been. And we're grateful to have you tonight. And we hope that you'll have a great weekend. We actually got through the show without a internet problem like we had the adventure of, because Chris went out and got a hard wire. And I figured that if we can't depend on the Wi-Fi, at least we'll just hot wire it, and just like hot wiring a car, and maybe that'll keep the internet up. And it did. It did tonight. So when there's a will, there's a way. And McDonald's going to be on here Monday night telling everybody that Trump was right about it again. Trump was right about everything. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to end that poll for you in the... I'm going to end that poll for you. Yes, I understand, Dennis, and I know what you're saying. As I said, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just trying to show the difference in the justice system. I get it. I get what you're saying. I do, and I'll agree. And you're right. If he was to have retaliated and went and let's just say in self-defense that night in the house, if he would have hurt that man or killed that man in self-defense, it's likely he may have been the one. He may not have got out of jail himself, and this guy's getting released. That's the whole purpose about this story. That man is released. He's free tonight. He's not in jail anymore. A rogue judge let him out. There's been no justice for that young boy. That man needs to be in the electric chair for what he did to that kid. But you're right, Dennis. Your point is right. Your point is taken. As I said, your point is well taken. The justice system would have probably charged the dad, and I'll agree. I'm not going to disagree with that. You're absolutely right. Anyway, Lisa Ramos is in the house. 86-14, the final tally on that poll tonight, 106 votes. No, we do not think hostages will be allowed to be free by the weekend. Well, it remains to be seen, and we'll end the poll right there tonight. Thank you all for voting. Thank you all for being with us, and we hope you have a great weekend. It's been a good Friday night. I want to thank Jason Miller, thank James Akers for being with us tonight. We'll follow this story. If there is breaking news, we'll do a Facebook Live or something over the weekend, but we're going to be done till Sunday morning, Sunday night, and that we'll pick this up Monday night late. It'll probably be a late show Monday night, and but listen, we're grateful for you, our McFiles audience, our family. Thank you all for being with us tonight. I want to tell you we appreciate you, and Kathy and I love you, and we're grateful for all of you. And I'm grateful for you too. I mean that, all of you. And I'm praying for your safety out there. Love each other, care for each other, pray for one another, encourage one another. These are dark, troublesome times we're in. And I can tell you, if there's anything that I do know tonight, they're not going to get any less dangerous. They're not going to get any less perilous. They're not going to get any less dangerous and satanic and demonic. And these things that we're talking about are going to get much worse. That's why the body of Christ needs each other tonight more than we've ever needed. And we need to cut this division out, neighbor, and all this cackling and all this slandering and all this stuff that we're doing to each other. It needs to stop, because at the end of the day, and when the smoke is cleared, the only people that you can depend on in these times are going to be the people of God. Just mark that down. Take that to the bank. And I hope you understand that tonight. I think most of you do. Y'all are good audience, and I appreciate all of you. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless this great nation of America. Jason Miller, thank you, buddy. James Akers, thank you, buddy. Made a good Friday night show, and we're grateful for you, and we'll be out of here now. Have a good night, everybody.